How about Chicago? They've been looking for a franchise quarterback since the 40s when they had Sid Luckman. I'm not joking. They have not had a franchise quarterback in 75 years, like a really great quarterback. Since 2000, the Bears have had 24 guys take a stamp at quarterback. So when people criticize the Carson Wentzes and the Jared Goffs because they're not perfect, I just roll my eyes. Miami has never replaced Dan Marino. Still, John Elway, they've never really replaced him. They had an old Peyton Manning for a few years. Jared Goff's already been to a Super Bowl. Since Sean McVay has arrived, he's won 38 games, lost 16. His quarterback passer rating is 96. He's completed 64.5% of his throws. He currently has the highest fourth quarter passer rating in the entire league. And people are already nitpicking him. Folks, do you understand there's no perfect quarterback? Big Ben makes terrible throws still. Tom Brady's unathletic. So is Eli. Aaron Rodgers is too prickly and doesn't get along with everybody. Russell Wilson's frankly a little short. Sometimes he can't see guys and throws bad picks. And Breeze, suboptimal arm. Same with Matt Ryan. Even the quarterbacks we like that are young and good, like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, you'd be like, oh, they're going to be stars. And all of a sudden the league gets a lot of them, and you're like, well, they're good, but they got little holes in their game. How bad would Matt Nagy, how much would he die to have Jared Goff today? I hear this all the time. You know, in L.A., if you're not LeBron or Mookie Betts, we're just going to sell stock on you. Jared Goff's a really good quarterback. The rule in this league is find a good quarterback and just support him. And by the way, the Bears did with Trubisky, and Nagy's got a very good record with him. But all of us can see, Chicago can see, everybody can see, Trubisky has a really, really low ceiling. And if you've won Super Bowls, the Bears have won a Super Bowl, there's kind of a higher standard than Cleveland that, you know, you just want a guy that can win some games. You know, you'd like a Super Bowl, but you're not realistic. You're realistic about that. In Chicago, they've won Super Bowls. They've been great before. So they really want to get a guy that can beat Aaron Rodgers, you know, that can beat the Russell Wilsons. But I look at this and I'm like, do you understand, Los Angeles, how hard it is to find a quarterback? You start looking around the league, and everybody wants a perfect quarterback. And I look at Jared Goff, and the answer, of course, is not through free agency. There's a reason a quarterback hits the market. Cam, Kirk Cousins. There's a reason. It is not it's not a career backup on his fifth team like Nick Foles. The answer in Chicago is what the answer was for the L.A. Chargers. You find a guy, Phillip Rivers, you get everything you can out of him, you move him, and then you go back to the draft. And sometimes, like the Chargers, you get lucky. You get two really good quarterbacks. And it doesn't happen very often. In New York, they had Eli. Daniel Jones even looks and plays sort of like Eli. Maybe they got another one. Today, they don't know. But Nick Foles was never the answer. This morning, the Rams are a legit 5-2. The Bears are a mirage 5-2 for one reason. It's not the coach. It is not the coach. If Matt Nagy was fired, he would have a job in 45 minutes. Can you imagine him in New York with Trevor Lawrence? Can you imagine him in Houston with Deshaun Watson? Atlanta with those weapons and Matt Ryan? Mitch Trubisky with Matt Nagy and not much else has a winning record in the NFL. It's not the coach. It's the quarterback. So anytime I hear people, you know, criticizing Carson Wentz and for that matter, you know, Jimmy Garoppolo or a Jared Goff, I'm like, oh, slow down. Do you go ask people in Miami, go ask people in Denver how hard it is to find the guy. Jared Goff's been to a Super Bowl. If he's healthy in 10 years, he'll have been to another, at least one more. All right, well, you know, I've said this before. Sometimes you hire a football coach, and it takes a while to figure out if you've got the right coach. But if you've got the wrong coach, Jim Tom Sula, 49ers, Les Steckel, Minnesota, Rod Marinelli, Detroit. Like if you've got the wrong Rich Kotite, if you've got the wrong coach, Freddie Kitchens, Cleveland, it takes you about 6 games to figure it out. Sometimes it's hard to figure out if you've got the right coach. You know, he's good, he's not great, but he's pretty good, and he has ups and downs. It's just like in life. It may take years to figure out if the relationship you're in right now is going to be great. But if it's bad, you know it pretty quickly. Like it's, hygiene issues. She throws stuff. at me. He throws stuff at me. Like, you can spot bad quickly. Dallas right now, this doesn't work. This is not close. Jerry Jones went on Dallas radio this morning. There's 2 bites. Let's play the first. And he says, I got my guy.
Certainly, we couldn't have anticipated being at this stage with our team this year. But if I were going to hire a head coach, that we're going to be at this stage this year and work through this for the betterment of what's in store for us for the rest of the year and for what's for us in the future, I got my man.
That was the beginning of the interview. And then the interview went on, and Jerry got feistier and feistier. And I've said this. You can always tell who's going to win a presidential election because which side of the media feels more desperate. I'll leave that for you to figure out. Jerry's this angry because Jerry's not just angry at the question. Jerry's angry that he may have made a massive mistake, and he's going to have to own up to it soon. Listen.
Does your team have a leadership void?
We're in the offensive line.
Just overall, when these.
But seriously, where would you have a leadership void? Is it an experience void? Is it a talent void? Is it a leadership void? I'm not trying to be cute here. The answer is no. The answer is no.
I'm asking.
There's not a. Well, just shut up and let me answer. No,
Jerry. When you go into the locker room, what I'm asking is, do you see the intangibles?
You're not asking me that. I gave you the answer. When I go into the locker room, there's no leadership void in my eyes.
Okay.
Now that's your answer. Let's move on.
Okay. Jerry's not mad at the question. He's mad at his decision, and he's embarrassed by it. And that's why he's super defensive. Those were legitimate questions. I worry that the Cowboys are becoming Al Davis at the end. Al Davis and Jerry have a lot in common. Pioneers, aggressive, smart, successful. They know football. Jerry played the game. Al was an assistant coach in the NFL for years. They know the game much more than 95% of the owners. They don't know it as much as they think, but they know the game. They took on the NFL. They're very similar. They're envied by the league. Took on the NFL and won. And then they get a little older, and they want control, and they can't handle a Bill Parcells. They can't handle a John Gruden, and they never, ever recover. You know, it's interesting with Dallas. When Jerry has allowed for a big personality, Jimmy Johnson's a big personality. Barry Switzer's a big personality. Bill Parcells a big personality. When Jerry allowed that and wasn't threatened by it, the Cowboys won. I mean, Barry Switzer was not a great NFL coach. He's a legendary college coach, but he won. But when Jerry has hired guys he can control, that's what Al Davis did. Mike McCarthy and Chan Gailey and Jason Garrett and Wade Phillips and nice guys, but they kind of lack that leadership right? He's failed every single time. It's the same with Al Davis. When he had John Gruden, and John can lack this and that, but he's a leader. John is he's got a Mike Tomlin, Pete Carroll thing. He walks into a room. John Gruden has a presence. Bill Parcells has a presence. Barry Switzer's got a presence. Jimmy Johnson's got a presence. Jason Garrett doesn't. Doesn't mean he can't coach, but he doesn't have a presence. They're becoming the Raiders. The last 7-8 years with Al Davis, like you couldn't take them seriously. Like they were running their business different than everybody else. The Cowboys have become, to a fault, a family business, too insular, will not take outside opinions. And I don't